That's a vibe. That's a vibe. That's a vibe. I got you on my side.
Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Tumi, and today I'm going to be walking you through my everyday makeup routine to show you how I achieved this look right here. I first went ahead and did my lashes. I used the Kevkev lash clusters in the style Cloudy C-Mix to get this look, and I spaced them out so that I could put these smaller lashes in between them to give them a more fuller look. So onto the face, I first used this rose water hydrating spray to freshen up my face and to keep it very hydrated so that my face doesn't get too dry under all the makeup. And I do rub it in because I tend to have, or I do have, dry skin, and I wanted to make sure that under all that makeup my skin doesn't get irritated or dried out. Following that, I did go in with some more hydrating things. I used the Snail Mucin serum, and I just applied that all over my face. And like I said, I do have dry skin, so I used as much hydrating products as I could find so that I could have that really hydrated base underneath all my makeup. And for the last part in my skin prep, I locked all that moisture in with my CeraVe lotion. And this lotion is particularly for dry skin, and so it was perfect for me, and it's really thick, so it helped me lock in all that moisture and hydration from the spray and the Snail Mucin serum. Now onto the actual makeup. I start off first by priming my face, and for primer I use the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. And this primer, even though I've been seeing a lot of discourse online about it, I think it works really well for me and for my skin type. It really just holds all my makeup in place, and it's very helpful for making my makeup last for a very long time. Following that, I then use the NYXBorn to Glow Illuminator, and this product really just makes my face glow to a certain extent. And I really like it because for the look I was going for, it is summertime, and so having that glow for me was really important, and this product really does the job for me. I then went in with some color corrector underneath my eyes to cancel out that bit of darkness there, and I used the NK Makeup Perfection Multi-Use Concealer, and this particular color corrector is labeled as super coverage, and so it's just super pigmented, and that's why I didn't use that much. I only used a bit in the inner corner of my eye and the outer corner, and that was enough just to give me the coverage and canceling out of darkness that I wanted. If I had put too much, it would have made it too orangey underneath my eye, and I didn't want that for myself. So if you're getting this exact concealer or any other color corrector, just make sure that you don't put too much underneath your eye. Following my color corrector, I went ahead and used my concealer. For my concealer, I used the Hydrating Camo Concealer by e.l.f. And for this first shade, I went ahead and used the Deep Cinnamon shade. And following that, I used a darker shade closer to my skin tone, and I used that in the shade Rich Chocolate. I then just took my concealer brush, also made by e.l.f., and I patted out my concealer, starting with the lighter shade first and blending that all around. And eventually I took my mirror and lifted it up so I could be looking up into it as I blended underneath my eye so that I wouldn't cause creasing in that area. Next, I went in with my liquid blush, and for blush I'm using the e.l.f. Camo liquid blushes. For my darker shade I used the Berry Well, and then for the lighter shade I went in with Dusty Rosé. And I'm only using a little amount for both of these because these blushes from e.l.f. are very, very pigmented, and a little goes a long way. And I think I even put a little too much, but it still came out very fine. So if you don't want to have too much blush, be careful with the amount that you're putting on. I went back in with my lighter shade of concealer just to mute the blush a bit and to bring out my brightened under eye again because I feel like the blush kind of hid it away. And so then I blended it out with my e.l.f. concealer brush and let that sit again before blending it out furthermore. I then went ahead and started to work on my brows. I used the Benefit Cosmetics 24-hour brow setter gel just to brush up my brows and set them in place. And then I took my NYX brow pencil in the shade brown, but I was first just brushing and carving out my brows to be like the way that I want them to be. And I was going for this like straight eyebrow kind of look that I've been trying recently. Think like Thames and Manon from Cat's Eye. Just kind of going straight. I'm kind of done with the arched eyebrows and I've been loving this new style of brows. I used the brow pencil to just fill it in a little bit, but mostly it is for tracing out the shaping of my eyebrow. And then what I do is I go in with the Anastasia Beverly Hills brow pomade in the shade brown as well, and I just fill in the area that I carved out and drew out. I then go back in with that same lighter concealer and I'm taking most of the product to clean up the tail ends of my eyebrows. And then I'll use the excess to clean up the front since I didn't use that much product there. Now that the concealer underneath my eyes has been sitting there long enough, I go in with my brush just to blend it all out again. Now onto the powder products. I begun by setting my under eyes with the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter setting powder in the shade Honey. And I just took my powder puff and dipped it inside of the container and then tapped off the excess onto the back of my hand to make sure that everything was evenly distributed on it and I could have like a nice even application. Following the loose powder, I went in with my pressed powder from MAC in the shade Dark Deep, and I applied that in the same areas as I did for the loose powder, just to further set my under eye. I then went in with my Juvia's Place bronzer palette in the shade Dark to bring some color and warmth back into my face. I used a fluffy brush to evenly apply the bronzer onto my forehead, my eyelids, and like above my cheekbones. To set everything in now, I first went in with my MAC Fix and Stay Over spray and I let that dry down for a bit. And then I followed that up with my One Size setting spray and then I fanned that out to make it dry a bit. And finally for the lips, I first started off with my Kiss lip liner in the shade Sienna Brown. And following that, I used my Wet n Wild lip liner in the shade Brandy Wine. I then took some Vaseline just to put on my lips to moisturize it and to blend the two lip liners together. I went in with my gloss next. First, NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Madeline. And then I followed that up with my Primark High Gloss in the shade Nude Ambition. Finally, I topped it all off with some clear gloss. I got this one from my beauty supply store, and this is the Broadway Coconut flavored lip gloss. But any clear gloss would do just fine for this. I took a paper towel and cleaned a bit of the excess off, and that was it. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.